Hollen's listed at 7 foot. Noah at 6'10". Noah's got him by a half an inch.
One game to decide it all.
Right off Humphrey. Hit his shoulder.
It's going to the Bruins.
Clean shot clock, 35 seconds.
UCLA gets to wear the home whites because they were a better seed in this tournament. A 2 coming out of the Oakland Regional. Florida, the 3 out of Minneapolis. Knocking out the 1 to make it here to Indy, eliminating Villanova.
Brewer did a tremendous job chasing Afflalo on the baseline in one of UCLA's favorite sets.
Lorimar and the Bruins patient with the first possession. Under 10 on the shot clock. Leaning in. Lorimar banks it home.
Humphrey, a good defender against the dribble, but it was very easy to get inside for Farmer. They cannot afford to allow that to happen.
Noah out high. They leave him alone out there. Now he works it in on Hollins. Doubled up. Swinging it around. Here's an opening 3 in Greene. Off the mark. Hollins pulls it down.
Good decision. Farmar comes back to get the ball, taking away that bad passing lane.
Good look for the Gators the first time down the floor.
And here you see Humphrey on Farmar. An excellent defender against the dribble penetration. Farmar, an excellent dribble penetrator. So that'll be some matchup.
And a whistle first. This is going against UCLA, and a push-off call against Hollins, trying to set a screen underneath.
Both teams really staying with their half-court offense as well, Jim. They've had common opponents, Alabama, LSU, and Albany, and both teams beat all of those opponents. They haven't lost any of their common opponents.
Well, UCLA's already gone through 2 SEC teams in this tournament, Alabama and LSU, to make the final. Looking for a 3rd SEC conquest tonight. Great pass. Horford sets up Noah, and the Gators are on the board.
UCLA went to the double down too quickly there.
And slashing to the basket, Bozeman hits the deck and is fouled on the shot. Fouled by Greene.
Jim, what's going to happen if you double Horford that quickly and give him an opportunity to find Noah? Noah ends up with weak side help coming from a guy like Farmar, much too small, so you can see the ball went right over the top.
Here's the young man, a senior in his 5th year, former McDonald's All-America, who has started at 4 positions in his Bruin career. Makes the first, and just to think that he was out all of last year with a blown knee, and he goes from the last time he was active, Billy, 2 years back, an 11-17 team, to one that is now playing in the title game tonight. Gets them both.
Picking up a little full court right here. Taking a little time off the clock, making Florida have to work to get their half-court set started.
Greene gives it up. Brewer fakes, now shoots and hits.
There's that 6'8" size of Brewers that kind of surprises people that play against him.
Hard to match up against.
Yeah.
Tubby Smith says he's the hardest guy on the floor to match up. You would know the Cats, of course, in conference play, saw him a couple times. Muta, who had a season-tying high 17 and 9 rebounds to lead them to a one-sided victory over LSU Saturday. Afflalo is going to be called for the charge, and it was Brewer who drew it.
Push off with the left hand, and again, we talk about Brewer, co-defensive player of the year in the SEC. He looks frail, but he's strong and he's quick. He's one of those wiry type guys, and with those long arms, Jim, at 6'8", he really presents a problem whoever he matches up with, either end.
He beats you in so many ways, too. You know, not only with his defense, his quickness, but his outside shooting. He's already made 1 basket from the inside, feeding it to Horford. He'll get the assist.
We're going to see a change right away from Ben Hollen. He's going to put in, I bet you, some more strength, a guy like Muta, because Horford giving Hollins all kinds of trouble down inside.
Bruins dangerous territory at midcourt. Bozeman left open down the lane and drawing another foul. Well, when you look at the history of the programs, this is the 2nd title game for Florida. Again, here in 2000, fell to Michigan State, that team that had Mike Miller and Udonis Haslem. The Bruins, though, this is their 13th final. They're 11-1. The only loss that UCLA ever suffered in a championship game happened in this city back in 1980.
Larry Brown coaching the UCLA Bruins that time, and Denny Crum winning his first national championship with Louisville. When you think about it, UCLA, Jim, in the Final Four is 26-4. 2 of those losses took place in the very first Final Four John Wooden never got to. That was 1962. He lost in 62, never lost again till 74.
Numbers that are hard to
beyond comprehension.
Yep. Horford sitting down with 1 foul. And Humphrey, that's a tie-up, they say. Gators have the arrow. They brought in Richard, and they sit down Horford.
Foul trouble a little bit there early in the ball game, not wanting him to pick up another.
Starting 5 still on the floor for UCLA. Greene slashing, kicking it back out. Noah. Again, pushing it out to Brewer. He hits the 3. We just talked about it. How many ways he can beat you? A steal, an assist. He's drawn a charge, and now he's hit a 3-point basket along with an earlier 2.
See, normally Afflalo would be playing against a guy smaller than he is, and this is not the case there. Brewer shot right over him.
Good pass, and Noah with another block. What a story that's been all tournament long. 24 blocks in the tournament.
Jim, keep an eye on the all-time record for blocks in a final game is 4. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and gets it.
That's Greene hitting the jumper, and a big start out of the gates for the Gators. They did take a look at that Torian Greene basket during the break. They reviewed, which they're allowed to do, to see if it was a 2 or a 3, and we agreed the toes were on the line, just barely, but clearly a 2. Collison in for the Bruins, Billy, number 2, and they've also brought in Muta, Lorenzo Muta, number 14.
Muta gives him a lot more bulk on the inside, even with Horford out of the ball game right now. Played a tremendous game against LSU in limited minutes the other day.
Mote, no, but Muta with the offensive rebound and travel. Florida has hit its last 5 shots to gain the early edge.
And so far, nobody, now Collison a good defender, but nobody's really stopped Greene from getting the offense initiated.
Noah, tough pass, Bozeman off his foot, stays with the Gators. Farmar coming back in. And they're going to give Afflalo his first breather.
So now you have UCLA going kind of small in the backcourt. Collison and Farmar. Farmar going to be up against Humphrey. Collison's got Greene.
Right back inside to Brewer, turnaround short.
Brewer would like to have that shot back. It was a terrific look. And what we're seeing so far, unlike what happened to LSU the other day, Florida's getting a lot of good looks at the basket, Jim.
That's on Richard, and immediately Donovan goes to the bench. He's brought in Walter Hodge, and now Moss comes in for Noah. So no Noah and no Horford on the floor right now. Adrian Moss, number 4, is the lone senior on the Gator roster.
You get a feeling there goes long. Humphrey doesn't see the passes going over his head.
And Farmar uses the body to shield him and lays it in.
Well, Jim, you introduced him to Peyton Manning the other night. He should have realized you'll go long when you've got Peyton looking at you. He was not a good defensive halfback in that case.
Brewer dishes, and Richard able to score on the inside.
Good versatility so far in this ball game from Brewer. Doing it at both ends of the floor, passing, shooting. And there you see it. Humphrey turned his back. Excellent play by Ben Hollen's club.
Then at the other end, Brewer picks up a second assist. Knocks that one away, in fact, from behind.
Well, Florida had the numbers. Moss didn't hit ahead. Again, Brewer doing the job.
The 3 key starters sitting down at the moment, but Brewer's still out there. He takes the pull-up jumper. Moss flying through. What a rebound. All muscle and the putback. Adrian Moss, he's been at Florida for half of Donovan's tenure, 5th-year senior. Collison drives, and is it a charge? Yes, it is.
UCLA a little bit out of control. They've been playing games, Jim, we pointed out. Only one team has scored over 60 points against them in this great win streak of theirs of 12 games, but they're kind of getting out of sight right now. They have to get back down to playing their half-court offense with their good, solid sets, not turn this into a running game. I think that really would favor Florida.
That's Noah cheering from the bench. Humphrey goes out. Greene back in. That charge on Collison executed beautifully defensively by Moss, who led the team in drawn charges on the season, something he's done all year long. Greene on the tightrope near midcourt. Still 20 on the shot.
Moss is not going to take that shot. Hollen's realized it. We talked about this Florida team. All 5 guys in double figures. All 5 guys with a positive assist-turnover ratio.
Collison. Again, Brewer from behind, almost wreaking havoc.
Those long arms.
Brewer has a couple of steals and 2 assists. The starting guards didn't even have a single assist in the win over George Mason on Saturday.
And you can see Ben Hollen trying to get his team back into their half-court sets, and there they go.
Farmar to Hollins.
Good job by Ben Hollen. He doesn't want to turn this into a full-court game. They're so good in these half-court sets. Hollins does a good job. Little pick and roll. Brewer doesn't stay with the man. Wide open.
Hollins now 20 of 23 from the field in the tournament, but most of them have been something like that, so no wonder.
Well, he was the regional MVP. Came into the Final Four with what we thought might be a problem with his knee, but it hasn't affected him at all. Nice step in.
Moss goes with the left hand, unable to hit it, and the Bruins come out of the pack with Collison.
Got 2 point guards on the floor right now for UCLA.
We got Farmar, Collison, Afflalo also out there. Bob Muta's been quiet. Farmar on the drive.
Could be a hand check on the outside.
Foul on Hodge, so Farmar to the line. He was, Billy, what's interesting about Farmar, with UCLA's coaching position uncertain back when he was in high school, Jordan had Florida on his short list.
Well, I would say short list because when he was ready, the morning that he was going to announce for UCLA, Billy Donovan was on the phone between 8 and noon almost 10 times with him saying, you know, we'd love to have you down here at Florida.
Could have been in this game tonight in a blue uniform, but there were others who thought they might have him too. Gonzaga went as far in the recruitment attempts to send the whole team to one of his high school games when they were down in the LA area to play Pepperdine. Roll coming in for UCLA, number 20. Collison out.
I think what Billy Donovan is doing a little bit with his substitution pattern, trying to keep his guys fresh, knowing that Ben Hollen doesn't mind using all 10 guys early in a ball game. As I said in the game on Saturday, the subs almost played as many minutes in the first half as did the starters. And we're in total control of the ball game.
When you mentioned that to Ben Hollen after the game, he seemed surprised that was like such a disparity. No.
So and I think he was happy to hear that too.
Horford almost able to squeeze it over to Noah because the double team had left Noah alone.
You notice when Noah stands up and they play that high-low post situation, when he breaks down as a true 7-footer who can catch the ball.
Greene.
Nice.
Passes up the short shot and feeds it to Horford. He'll shoot a pair.
Hollen's having all kinds of trouble with Horford. Horford just too strong for him inside.
This call against Roll, not on Hollins. Horford coming to the line.
Big difference in these two teams in regard to free throw shooting. Florida excellent at 74% as a team. UCLA was 9th in the Pac-10 this year free throw shooting, only 69%. In a game like this, could be a factor.
Switches the first. He had 15 rebounds, did Al Horford against Villanova. 13 rebounds against George Mason on Saturday. Remember Billy Donovan telling us last week that he has the highest basketball IQ of any player he's ever coached. That coming from an old point guard. He usually goes to your point guard when you're making compliments about that basketball acumen.
Well, Jimmy, remember in the regional how well Horford and Noah handled the ball against pressure in the backcourt.
Hollins out to Greene, who snags it.
Muta a little late getting there. Very impressed with Greene tonight in terms of the way he's handling the ball against what has been just terrific pressure in previous games by UCLA guards.
A foul on Muta. Look at the Gators.
Getting a lot going inside. We talked about the Gators in the paint. They've got nice balance. Because with Brewer and Greene and Humphrey, they can take you outside in the perimeter as well. And I think that's why they're getting so much good spacing in their high-low post game.
Brewer slashing free on the baseline. Puts up the shot and doesn't get the roll. Muta able to control it.
Mata's a real space eater, isn't he? He gets in there and holds his ground. Very strong young man.
He had a good game on Saturday, didn't he? Guy that's been banged up all season long. Afflalo, short. And Horford.
And they're running.
Or are they ever? 5-on-2. Humphrey passes it up to Noah. And again, the Gators draw the foul.
They're getting a lot of good looks.
Horford and Noah in the game. And it's Horford right back to Noah. Setting up Humphrey. 3-point shot. Not this time. Hit 6 of them on Saturday.
Collison wants to run.
Afflalo dishes. Bozeman delivers the goods. Right back to look how quick the Gators push up the tempo. Greene, no on the 3. And Bruins do a good job boxing. It's Bozeman at the other end with the board.
And they're looking to want to push it now themselves.
What a block. That was Horford. Pitches it up ahead. Brewer fouled on the way up. He got the shot down.
Jim, that was just a great pass. What Greene did is he put that ball up in the air so Brewer could run under it instead of throwing a line drive pass that's tough to handle, particularly when you don't have the angle. Oh, there's Horford. Great block. Ball is thrown way up in the air. Brewer can chase it down. Beautiful play.
Corey Brewer, the top returning scorer for Billy Donovan this year. People thought this would be a total rebuild year after losing the nucleus of David Lee, Anthony Roberson, Matt Walsh. He averaged 7 a game last year, and that was the top returner.
Right, they lost 60% of their scoring with those 3 outstanding players. This was an extremely young team, and not many people gave them much chance not to be in this game, but to be a factor in the SEC this year.
First 3-point attempt of the night, pulled down by Noah.
Look at Horford taking off.
Noah, he takes that open space and does not get the roll off the rim.
If it hadn't been for Muta, he was going to flush that one.
Yes, he was. He's setting up for it, wasn't he? That's Mata's second.
He was all set if Muta doesn't come down with the arm. Noah puts that one right through. I'll tell you, because of his great speed, and he and Horford, Jim, and you pointed out about Horford's basketball IQ, and I think we've got a lot of kids out here with great basketball IQ. When you take a Muta in terms of his knowledge of the game, having only played 5 years, it's rather amazing.
Noah slides the first one in off the rim and the glass, and Hodge replaces Brewer. Hollins back in for UCLA. Muta down with the 2.
Noah this year set a new record. He made 19 fouls in that 19 for 22 game he had with 37 points against Georgia. That's a new record, breaking Neil Walk's record of 18 in the past. So despite the unusual looking shot, he holds the standard.
Well, the Gators now increase the lead to 8, their largest of the game. Hollins thought about it. He'll wait and let Farmar reset.
It's the first time that Florida showed any kind of full court trapping pressure. Again, the pick and roll.
Farmar, jumper, good again.
Dangerous cross court pass. Collison was 1 step away of picking that one off and laying it up.
First 10 minutes of the game complete, and Florida has not turned it over once. Humphrey sets, shoots, what a chance for the 4-point play.
Humphrey has been amazing against Arkansas in the first round of the SEC tournament. He had 25 points. We saw what he did the other night with an outstanding basketball game, shooting from 3. He was 1 for 5 to start of the game on Saturday. Billy Donovan's rule, just keep right on shooting. Very seldom will a guy ever make a jump shot where a guy hits him on the elbow. That is some concentration there.
He really was the one who ended George Mason's great run through this tournament. Right at the start of the second half, he hit 3 quick threes, and now a chance for the rare 4-point play. And as you pointed out, not a great free throw shooter, but how about those bounces?
Averaging, despite the fact that he is the #1 3-point shooter in Florida history for a season, he has averaged 55% from the foul line this year, and he did the same thing as a freshman.
Richard in, and back to the bench, Horford.
There's that pressure, throwing right over it. Nice move by UCLA. Billy Donovan mixing things up defensively here.
Afflalo, Hodge on him. Hollen's open at the line, now steps in, and a second block on the night for Noah. Hollen gets it back, though, and pinned for a moment and taken away by Noah.
How about him leading the break? I talked about magic of Noah. That's like Magic Johnson used to get those defensive rebounds. Turnover.
Farmer picks the pocket of Brewer, the first turnover of the night against Florida, and Farmer takes it all the way.
Noah does have that ability, get a defensive rebound and push it out with a dribble.
And a push-off reach-in call. Boya is in for the Bruins, but it's going against Roll, his second into the game. So double bonus, and Humphrey back to the line. You suggested on Saturday it'd be wise to step back a little bit.
Hey, if you're shooting 45% from three, almost 46%, and you're shooting 55% from the foul line with nobody guarding you, why not just shoot those shots that are about 16, 18 feet and use your jump shot?
Wholesale changes for the Bruins. They got Muta back, Muta. You know, we've talked so much about the famous fathers at Florida. I thought we should mention about the other two fathers out of the starting lineup. There's his father, Tony, who's a middle school teacher, middle school basketball coach. Tony Humphrey. Just as much pride as the famous fathers. And Corey Brewer reaches in. He's the son of the farmer back in Portland, Tennessee. And he says his dad's his hero because he taught him the value of hard work. There is Humphrey's dad. Again, a school teacher back in Maryville, Tennessee.
Afflalo did a nice job realizing Brewer coming behind. Now here goes Billy Donovan changing his defense again. Going to a 2-3 zone. He's really switching things up. Ben Hollen's changing a lot of lineups. So what Billy Donovan is doing is changing a lot of defenses.
Muta thought he had a look and went up cleanly, but all there.
I think nice strategy by Billy Donovan right here. If you're going to change those lineups, I'm not going to let you take a look at my same defense.
Moss is back in, Noah out. Moss has given him already some good minutes off the bench with an offensive board and a putback. And that's Richard. Missing the short one. Muta pulling it away.
So far, Afflalo has not been able to get going offensively in either game that we had here in the Final Four.
Great pass, but too strong with the shot. Muta gets it back. Pinned this time by Richard, and Moss says, I have it. That's going to be a foul on Muta, and that's number 3.
That's going to really hurt UCLA because he does bring some strength and stability in the low post defensively. Florida needs it. He should have had that layup.
Should have had the layup. Not a third foul.
A wide open opportunity on that layup, Jim. You got to finish those off. This is a big foul for a substitute to have 3 that Ben Hollen needs, considering the makeup of the Florida team.
And again, Moss making some plays off the bench. Senior from Houston, Texas, Humble High School, just north of the city. And he'll get one more.
Well, last year he had 16 starts, 6.8 points, 4.6 rebounds a game. So we're talking about a pretty experienced guy here coming off the bench, adding that depth, power, and size for Florida. You've got both Horford and Noah on the bench right now, but able reserves here.
Billy, you talked about all 5 starters, as you see 2 of them there on the sidelines. But all 5 starters averaging in double figures at Florida. They also have something else that's unique. All 5 starters with more assists and turnovers. You mentioned that, but only one other Division I team in the country could claim that. And that would be South Carolina, which has already won the NIT. So those 2, the only 2 who can boast it.
Both from the same league.
Yep.
And South Carolina beat this Florida team twice this year.
Until the Gators reversed fortunes in the SEC Conference Final, Tournament Final.
Nice job by Collison to beat the double team, but
right out to Hodge, makes the theft, and that is stripped away by the Bruins. It'll belong to Florida. Last touch by the Bruins.
Well, it's all Gators right here. 50% field goal shooting, only 1 turnover. Kind of amazing, Jim. 7 assists have led to 9 field goals for Florida. They are amazing on the year doing that. Almost 68% of their field goals come directly from an assist, which shows not only good spacing in their half-court offense, but guys that really understand and are totally unselfish.
7.5 to go first half. 3 starters sitting at the moment for the Gators, including Horford and Noah. Here's Moss. He'll take the jumper. He's got the hot hand.
Big shot there.
There's an X factor for you, Billy. Didn't expect this kind of night from Moss, but he's coming up big.
When a guy is shooting 18% from the outside, you kind of let him shoot one. But, boy, that was right down the heart.
Push off against Richard.
I see a little consternation on the eyes and the faces of the UCLA players, and that was not evident at all throughout this tournament. They seem to be focused. They seem to be positive. Right now, they're wondering what's going on.
Well, they did have to come back from 17 down as they bring the big guys back in, Noah and Horford. They were 17 down to Gonzaga. Down 13 at halftime. Second biggest halftime comeback in the history of the tournament, including scoring the last 11. What must Gonzaga be thinking tonight, knowing that they had this team almost put away?
And here's the 2-3 matchup. Horford didn't realize what they're in. Right now, Florida a little bit confusing in what they're playing. They start out in the 2-3, but they're matching up with it.
And that is Farmar with the first three of the night for UCLA.
His 63rd three of the year. Big basket for UCLA, and he had big baskets the other day to set the pace against LSU.
That's Hodge in the corner. Noah with the long arms almost reached out for it, but it comes bouncing out the Bozeman. Brewer from behind forces the steal. Second time tonight.
Second time tonight, and he almost has had two others with that long reach.
Greene takes it in, and there's a block at the other end. Hollins. Farmar surveys, dribbles right past. Brewer behind the back. Hollins and a foul. Unable to knock down the dunk.
Nice concentration by Hollins. That was a pass. That was not a fancy pass, Jim. That was the only way to get that ball to Hollins. And sometimes big guys will take their eye off the ball running like that. But a good job on that catch.
I'll tell you what it did, though. It drew a second foul on Al Horford and sends Hollins to the line. Boy, did he struggle at the line, even though he was the outstanding player of the Open Regional.
We watched him the other day in practice on Friday. And Ben Hollen was on his case about staying with his follow-through. There he is, keeping that hand right up in the air.
I'm standing on that free throw line. And Horford has to come out, replaced by Moss. I'm looking up at the basket, through the window pane on that basket, and you look up and you see a banner with a school's name on it. Indiana, as they have all the names of teams that competed in the tournament encircling the RCA Dome. And, of course, Indiana with a new coach named in the last week.
Alvin Sampson from Oklahoma.
Under 6, first half. Noah. Tough pass, got it there, though, and Moss again gets the basket. He's got 7, Billy.
We talk about that basketball IQ of Noah. He just was able to weave that ball right inside. Good look on his part. Ready for the double team. Florida goes back to the straight man-to-man, changing up their defenses, keeping this lineup off balance for UCLA.
Muta, no factor offensively so far tonight. And that hits the top of the backboard. It's going back to Florida. The Gators have blocked some shots, haven't they? All tournament long. We're seeing it again tonight.
From so many different people. We've talked about Brewer, what he can do. Moss in traffic. Horford, we know. And then, of course, Noah. Horford and Noah have set a record for the best 2 shot blockers ever in Florida's history on the same team.
Well, they got 4 on the night, 1 by Richard, 1 by Horford, 2 by Noah. And it's Noah touching it. High, driving in off the glass. Beautiful shot.
As I said at the center jump, although Noah's listed as 6'10", Hollins at 7 foot, Noah, it plays a lot bigger and stands taller. Again, the pick and roll try, not happening. Afflalo is going to have to start getting the ball in his hands, Jim. He's too big a scorer to be this quiet in this game. They need him. He's being guarded by Greene, a much smaller man. They ought to go to him.
It's only taken 1 shot, Billy, and another 3-point try. Not this time for Farmar. Humphrey able to grab it as Collison was about to pounce on it.
Who's the first man down the floor? Noah.
Working inside with Aboya. Battling for position.
He's banging him, isn't he?
Yep. I thought they might whistle something.
But Noah will take him outside and then use that speed.
Humphrey, this from the bench. And Aboya underneath. Brewer trying to mix it up, reaching in. No, timeout called by UCLA. Jim Nance and Billy Packer and my partner are all excited about those in the stands tonight, all this history.
Jim, I've been into many, many Final Fours. What you're looking at, fans, right there, are the 4 greatest centers that ever played college basketball. They were the leaders of their era. Bob Curlin won the national championship in 45 and 46, twice the MOP. Bill Russell won it in 55 and 56, once the MOP. Kareem Jabbar, 67, 68, and 69, the MOP all 3 years. And Bill Walton won it in 72 and 73, the MOP. So you're talking about 9 championships, wow. 8 MOPs. That is a picture for a lifetime. They've never been in the same arena all at the same time. That is something very special, fans.
What a shot from Bob Fishman. Bob Dekas, talk about going 4 corners. That's as good as it gets. In the lane, a travel first, and we're going to have another break. It was a timeout called earlier by UCLA, but now we've got the under 4 automatic timeout on the whistle.
But you know what's amazing? He has seen his son now. This will be the 3rd game he's ever seen him play. Set his all-time record with 37 points against Georgia. Comes back and watches him get to the Final Four on Saturday, and here he is for a championship. 3 pretty good games for a father to see, huh?
And here's his son dishing and having the pass stolen by Afflalo.
Afflalo has got to be the answer. He's guarded by Brewer. He's got to start doing something offensively. Too good a player to be held down. There he goes.
Afflalo got the pass in there. And another block by Noah.
I think that's 3. And Jim, I said 4 is the all-time record in a championship game. He may be getting there at halftime.
Coming up, singular at the half, Greg Clark and Seth. First half analysis plus Dickenberg with an essay of the first 25 years of CBS's NCAA basketball tournament coverage and the awarding of the singular Naismith Player of the Year. All coming singular at the half. I don't think there's any question that record is going down tonight.
Well, that was Lauren Woods from Arizona. Remember the great game he had against Duke, but not enough to win the championship for his team. But it's kind of surprising that would be the record. You know, 4 blocks.
Yeah, you'd think somebody, particularly the guys you just showed.
Well, you know, they might not have kept them back in those days. Yeah.
Noah just committing his first foul, and Bozeman, he's back at the line. He's already 4 for 4.
Short.
He's 1 and 1, and that's a big one. So he gets one more try.
What I think we're going to see out of Ben Hollen is a little bit more consistency with who he has on the floor, because Florida has given him a lot of different looks and it's gotten UCLA out of their offense.
Muta keeps the possession going, but Brewer almost strips him. Muta very quiet, Billy, so far at this end of the floor. 0 for 3, not on the board.
Well, give the Florida defense some credit there, particularly Noah.
Lorimar pinned on the baseline, gets it out. Muta, not this time either. Hollins working it hard and comes up short.
2 times in a row now, UCLA has had baskets they have got to make, and they may be worried about Noah's presence in there with that shot blocking. And Noah did a very smart thing that time, because he was out of position for the shot block and just left it go up there rather than have the cheap foul.
Moss hit one jumper, Billy. Forget about that 18% percentage. Might as well try another one. UCLA without a field goal now for over 4 minutes.
As a weak handoff, Farmer was ready to turn the corner and shoot that jumper. Gave Brewer an opportunity to get back on track defensively.
With 8 on the shot clock, puts up a running shot.
That's his 4th block, Jim.
Hollins, turnaround, yes. And there you go, you got the record tie.
At halftime.
Yes.
I thought that was a possibility.
You didn't know, though, it'd be in the first half.
No, but I thought he could get the 4.
Bruins get it under 10.
And they need some more shutdowns.
Brewer working hard. Greene very cool at the point.
He really has been, hasn't he, Jim? He hadn't turned the ball over. He's kept his team in the offense.
Takes the shot with 3 on the shot clock. It's Moss. And a hold. He'll go back to the line.
Well, Jim, we talked about UCLA's bench and how productive they were on Saturday. Remember back in 2000 when Billy beat #1 Duke and he beat North Carolina to get to that Final Four and that championship game? Against Duke, his bench scored 35 points against Duke, 6. Against North Carolina, 37 points in the Final Four from the bench, only 2 for North Carolina. His bench brought into the Final Four 183 bench points, which is phenomenal. So this guy knows how to get it working, and tonight he's done a terrific job employing his bench.
This performance by Moss, again, unexpected and getting old for UCLA. He's got 9. Only Farmar has outscored him on the Bruin end. He has 12. And yes, most points allowed in the first half of this tournament. Remember, they've already held 3 opponents 45 or less in the whole game, in 3 of the games.
Afflalo has got to get on track before halftime. He's wanting shots. He's just not getting them to fall.
That's Noah, and Hollens maybe this time to jump. He was up there ready to snag it, but the Gators patient now, 11 in front.
They're going to have to give it up, though. 45 on the shot clock. And 22 on the shot clock, 45 on the regular clock. So they have to give up the possession here. Ben Hollen screaming over there in his defensive stance, trying to get his guys' attention.
That goes on all game long. Yep. 3 on the shot clock. Brewer has it stripped. Farmar makes the play. And now with 20 to go in the half, Afflalo works the baseline. Other side. And got another hand on it. He has the record.
5 blocks in the first half by the man who's got magic numbers in this tournament. You can see Afflalo understands what he's got to do. It's just not working out for him.
1 on the shot clock. Moss at the buzzer does not get the roll.
But he did a good job for the first half, didn't he?
Well, Florida's bench outscoring the Bruin bench 11-2, led by Moss with 9.
Hard to believe.
You talk about denying the 3. That has been really the biggest story, according to Billy Donovan, in their current 10-game win streak, holding opponents to 26% from out here. UCLA's only hit 1 so far tonight in 3 tries, and they'll be bringing it in from the baseline.
A bounce pass was an easy pass right there, and it would have led to a easy layup for Hollens.
Muta, no. And he, along with Afflalo, combined 0 for 8 tonight. They averaged 12 a game in the tournament, and they have been shut out each.
12 for the game and 25 between the 2 of them on the year, Jim. So they're not getting any production out of those 2 good scores.
Brewer, no. Rebound, Horford working hard for it. Brewer trying to tip it over to Hollens.
Are they going to start to try to push the ball up the floor and get something going, getting Afflalo in the game? He's got Brewer on him, and I realize it's not that easy to go up against the co-defensive player of the year, the SEC, but he's got to figure out a way to get the ball and get in scoring position. Now he's got Humphrey on him.
And Farmar with 7 on the shot clock, and Brewer not wanting to give up anything.
Respecting Brewer's great length.
Farmar got a hand on it, give him a block.
How about that? He really respected the length, didn't take the jump shot.
Humphrey, just like Saturday, hits an early 3 in the second half.
Ben Hollen not going to take any more chances whatsoever. Farmar knows he made a mistake. The ceiling shot that sealed it for their championship in the SEC. And his stats in this NCAA tournament rival some of the great runs that we've seen in tournament history, like Magic Johnson, Danny Manning, Glenn Rice. I mean, guys that just had great tournaments. He's right up there with them.
Well, Farmar gets away from him. Said it on Saturday. He's been the best player in the tournament. And he's showing it tonight.
Dangerous passing.
And that's Noah reaching in, almost getting the theft. Chase for the ball, back to Bozeman with 15 on the shot clock. Quick passing sets up Afflalo. He still can't find it.
He's going to have to go ahead, Jim. You notice at the end of the first half, he started to get the ball and drive to the basket. He's going to have to get an easier shot than that one.
Billy, I told you, denying the 3s really works on the other side. The Bruins 1 for 7 is their total so far tonight. Greene launching 1 for the Gators. Nope.
Oh, and there's another one of those offensive rebounds. Remember the other day against George Mason, it just was They got 7 offensive rebounds on the first 8 misses they had in the game. Gotta break your back.
Humphrey gets it away quick. Release. And the Gators keep pouring it on. Up 17, matching the Bruins now. Biggest deficit of the tournament. Lorimar, no, but Hollen follows it up.
Now trying to push the ball up the floor. Humphrey had 16 of his 19 points in the second half after going 1 for 5 from 3 in the first half.
He's doing it again, just like he did against George Mason, coming out of the locker room in the second half with some killer punches.
Well, Billy Donovan learned from Rick Pitino. If you're a good shooter, you got to have confidence to keep putting up shots if they're good shots, even if you're missing.
And that's Brewer short. Long arms. Hollen's on the floor, tied up, and the arrow still with Florida. And the put back by Hollins.
Collison in, Bozeman out. Ben Hollen trying to get some kind of offensive consistency.
Well, you mentioned Rick Pitino. He's the one who really gave Billy his start in so many ways as a player for Coach Pitino. Starting his junior year at Providence, took him from the bench to a star, and there is Coach Pitino.
He's got to be awful proud of that guy. He said drop 20 pounds. He goes from scoring 3 points a game to 15, and then up to 20 as a senior, leading his team to a Final Four. Look at Noah's speed.
Then, of course, he gave Billy his chance to coach. Took him off of Wall Street after a year in the business community. Brought him to Kentucky to be an assistant.
But Billy, the only guy to, in effect, play in a Final Four, coach as a head coach in a Final Four, and along with Dick Harp also be an assistant in the Final Four.
And now twice as a coach, head coach, and there's Rick and Joanne this weekend celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary.
And he went to a Final Four in '96 with 2 SEC teams, one of which won. The last 2 times the SEC has put 2 teams in the Final Four, they came away with the champ.
But here's one of the twists. Rick lost on this floor in '97, then his protege lost on this floor in 2000 in the finals. Oh, Noah from the floor pitches it over to Horford.
And look at Horford bring the ball up the floor as he did so beautifully against Villanova's pressure.
Brewer, he puts it up from 3, and the Gators are on fire. Now national coach at the Pac-10 in his 3rd season.
Well, it's taken him 3 years in all spots, but he left the program in great solid shape in that 3rd year. As you pointed out, Jim, coach of the year in all 3 conferences. Shows you what a program builder he is, but he's got a lot of work tonight.
Mata, knowing Noah's there, but still makes the move.
Really hurt UCLA for Mata to pick up those 3 fouls in the first half and have to sit down. He's the one guy that's looked solid inside. Talking about solid, how good has Greene been tonight? Very patient out there with the ball. Gets tied up.
Needing some help, calling a timeout. The basket by Mata, the first bench points of the night for the Bruins. Walter Hodge for the Gators.
Jim, we see just 2 starters on the floor for UCLA now. Their lineups have been so infrequent to have those 5 starters on the floor. They just haven't been able to get anything done offensively.
5 on the shot clock, and Noah
nice step
working, and what a move! What a move!
Well, I think it was a great move because I think he walked.
That's what Hollen's over there signaling twice.
You give me that little extra step with another foot, then you can make a lot of nice plays.
Bozeman inside, rejected by Horford this time.
Numbers, there was a
Look
foul
out
by Roll.
Hodge driving in, putting it up. No, Noah back up with it. And it's going to UCLA. Talking to Jordan yesterday, this being our 25th Final Four, Michael Jordan winning our first one. I said, any chance? He said, yes. My parents thought he had so much prestige in that name. They told me I was going to be Jordan, whether I was a boy or a girl. Named after the great one. Afflalo. This pass to Mata, but still they have to kick it back out.
Boy, Brewer has played a great all-around game, and he is making life miserable for Afflalo.
Muta with the 3. Back of the rim, and Brewer snags it. Takes off running. Bounce pass Hodge. Hodge up with it. No. Tipped up. No. Horford. And it's Mata coming back quickly to get the board.
Brewer probably should have given that ball to Hodge earlier, then he could have got it back. And look at Noah lead the break.
And Brewer takes it from the outside, short. Farmar says, let's get running ourselves.
Brewer should have kept that ball alive a little bit himself.
Farmar missing the short one, and that is going back to the Gators.
Jim, there was a situation where Brewer took the outside shot, but he had both of his big men running in underneath the basket. If he'd have held it up, and Brewer's pointing to his chest back to Noah saying, I kind of made a mistake on that one. These guys, you know what's really amazing about this Florida bunch? You got 4 of them live in the same dormitory, the residence hall. You've got Corey Brewer, Horford, Noah, and Greene all living together on a daily basis. Yeah, and that's why, you know, you saw that little reflection back. Yeah, that was my fault. He was tapping himself on the chest. He realized his 2 roommates had run that far, and he takes the outside jumper.
The 4 sophomores in the starting lineups. What it is, all roommates. They have a name for themselves, too. Here it is to Richard. Horford, so smart, finds the open teammate off the double team.
And the double team is coming from the weak side. We saw that at the very beginning of the game. Instead of doubling down from up top, they're doubling down with the big men, and that leaves a guy wide open inside. No help with the guards on the weak side. Brewer right down on the foul. Boy, he is doing the job on him. He won't give him any looks.
Hollen's jumper, got it.
Well, I bet you all the big guys from UCLA are happy to see Noah on the bench because they don't get that kind of look when he's on the floor. Greene has been so patient to keep his team in the half-court sets.
Ahead, under 13 to play. Richard on the baseline, and he is hacked by Hollens. Look at this pass.
Yeah, he sees the double team coming from the weak side. Big man knows that he's got a teammate wide open and hits him perfectly. Jim, I haven't seen Greene play this good all-around floor game. Now, he's playing against some of the best perimeter defensive players that we've seen all year long, and he is just not turning the ball over. He's keeping his team in the offense and really keeping that floor spacing perfect for Florida. They're playing as fine a college basketball game as we've seen in a while.
Yeah, almost flawless. Noah wasn't down for long. One more for Richard, junior from Lakeland, Florida, and 2 good ones to bring it back to 20.
And look at what Billy Donovan does. He picks up full court. Brewer with that wide wingspan. Humphrey allows Collison to beat him. They had Collison right where they wanted him.
Afflalo has been smothered in this game every time he touches it. Collison. No, can't go in there. Now I've got an open shot. Takes it. Doesn't get the roll. 2 Bruins battling. Hollens to the floor. The arrow to UCLA.
Good job by Richard to get that tie-up.
UCLA team with 12 straight wins, won the Pac-10 regular season and the conference tournament. On the Boya, perfect pass. Collison to Boya for the dunk.
Lined up 4 on the foul line and just overpowered Noah, going right over the top of him. But he's a competitor. He's not going to let that bother him.
Stirs the crowd, but still much work to go for the Bruins. Noah off the glass.
Hey, take that. Take that. That kid is some competitor. We saw the genes here tonight watching him. And his father, obviously, if you can be the French Open champion, you've got some competitive spirit. But that young man possesses it all.
By the way, he doesn't play tennis, but he says if his teammates want to play him, he'll be happy to take their money from the corner. 3-point shot all there. It's Collison underneath. And it's off Florida.
Afflalo just so frustrated he can't even buy a shot.
It'll be UCLA ball out of the break, down 20.
Then when you start looking for the most valuable player, most outstanding player in this particular game, there's so many candidates in regard to Brewer and Noah particularly. Muta is 0 for 6. Alfano is 0 for 5. Can you imagine those 2 guys 0 for 11, have not scored a point? Give Brewer a lot of credit for his defense.
That may finally change as Afflalo is heading to the line for a pair.
The wrist looks like it's still bothering him a little bit. He's holding it. Obviously, if you hadn't made anything, it really starts to get sore.
And foul on Noah, his second. And the young man who was born to be a Bruin has his first point of the night. And Greene coming back. And born to be a Bruin because he was born at UCLA Medical Center. And in fact, on October the 15th, a significant date in college basketball. It's always the date that started practice.
That may help him getting to the line, getting what it feels like to put a shot in.
He saw his father Ben. Yeah, maybe that will give him a little something. With his confidence.
Rolled out here now, wanting to make sure that Humphrey doesn't get any kind of a look.
Humphrey right back inside. Good Noah. Backing in and over Hollens. Hollens pulls it down. Howson in the lane, short. And it's a Boya falling back and fouled on the shot.
Well, that's going to be Richard. Richard's playing some valuable minutes, have been giving Horford an opportunity to get some rest and stay out of foul trouble. That's his third, but you know, those are three that Billy Donovan can afford. When you take a look at Billy Donovan over there on the sidelines, this is a guy that the 77 years before Donovan got there, Florida averaged winning 11.5 games a year. And they had 5 NCAA tournament bids. Since that time, he's averaging 21.4 wins a year, and he's working right now on 8 straight NCAA tournaments. Not bad for a young coach, huh?
His second championship game and 10:57 away from the title as Farmar comes back in. Horford also. Well, you think about all the championships at UCLA and the decorated history there. They did not even appear, talking about Florida, in the NCAA tournament until 1987. And UCLA already had 10 national championships by that time.
That's right. Norm Sloan took the team there for the first time. Well, it did take Coach Wooden 15 years at UCLA before he got himself his first title. So coaches should be, and the president should be a little more patient.
Look out! Wow. Look out!
There's that speed when he starts at the top of the key. He can catch the ball on the run, and a great finisher.
Greene, though, with the assist, making the eye contact with Noah.
Jimmy, you look up the 10-minute mark. Florida can no longer, UCLA can no longer be in a trading basket mode. They're going to have to start turning the ball over, creating some offensive opportunities with their defense. Look at Noah going down that lane.
Well, there's the reason why. All set up by Torian Greene.
Greene, Brewer, Noah, when you start the Horford, they are all having superb games. 6 assists for Greene, and just great floor generalship in this one.
Brewer's sitting down now. He picks up his second foul. UCLA in that first half shooting right around 30%, now 29% in this half. Farmar leaning in with the body, looking for the call, doesn't get it. Back out to him. They close in on him. Afflalo, what a pass. Over to Muta for the first time tonight. He scores.
But again, you're back into the trading basket concept. They've got to start turning Florida over, and they have not been able to do it primarily because of this man right here. Greene has been so patient.
Driving the lane, setting up another assist. No, because there's a foul first.
Sidney Greene sitting here watching his young son. Sidney was a power player for UNLV. His young son has been a powerful performer here for Florida, playing a much different position. There's Sidney.
Once a teammate of Michael Jordan in the pros. He had Jordan when Torian was just an infant. Tap him on the head. And Sidney thought it might bless him to become a good basketball player. So the dad, now a coach, Sidney Greene, knowing what he was doing back then. Here he is, his son dishing, and ball on the floor, picked up by Farmar.
Look at Horford chasing it down. Boy, he's got good speed.
Open three, and they're struggling from the outside, as has every other team in Florida's current 10-game win streak.
But Jim, that was a wide open look. You got to start burying those shots when you're down like this. They are 1 for 10 from 3 tonight. Humphrey, good pass.
And a dunk. Horford from Humphrey.
Boy, that was just a great pass because Horford had Aboyo on his hip. Had to be perfectly thrown.
Afflalo, he puts up one and hits it from 3. Just the second of the night for the Bruins.
You can see Ben Hollen over there telling his team he wants him to pick up full court.
I think there's a little question here for the officials.
2 or 3?
Yeah, 2 or 3. Official on the other side of the court, Tony Greene, said he thinks it might be worth a look, so John Cowell joins him and they'll take a look at it.
here's what I like about what Florida can do. When you start to press them full court, look at who the two guys are. One taking the ball out of bounds is Noah. The other guy down there, here we'll see this turn in. I think he's behind the line.
Yeah, that's a 3.
But you've got Horford and Noah down here to help bring the ball up the floor. Yeah, I think he's behind the line.
No question about it.
Couple inches.
So Afflalo, after some recent free throws, comes in now and hits a 3 with just under 9 minutes left.
Now watch this play by the big men from Florida. We saw it against Villanova's press. It is amazing how well they handle the ball and the decisions they make in the backcourt. There's Horford, comes back to the ball after setting a screen. Not afraid to dribble the ball up the court. Is that amazing or not?
And he draws the foul.
Well, they said he stepped out of bounds. I thought he got pushed.
Yeah, we did too.
Little body contact over there, but the big man put the ball on the floor and beat the press.
So the Bruins coming off the 3 now. Get the turnover. That's only the 6th of the night committed by the Gators. That's it.
And the Bruin faithful realizing time is running down. That was a foul on that one. He made it anyway.
Big one. Afflalo with 2 straight. Still, it's 14.
Ben Hollen would love to get this thing down in single digits.
The last 6 to the Bruins. First mini streak of the night. Brewer dishes. Noah dunks. And the Gators just can't be stopped at that end. Timeout, Florida.
They were possession, and they got good position in their defense, and that's why they were holding people down.
Ben Hollen asked about that yesterday. He says, we're going to get better at that with this program. People don't realize when I was at Northern Arizona, we led the country in three-point shooting 3 straight years. We will get better. So it's not just going to be this beat 'em up, bruise 'em up, Big East style of ball that it looks like at the moment, according to the coach. Years to come, and that's last touch by Greene, and we have the under 8 official timeout.
And that's the one thing I'm sure he went over during this timeout. They're going to be pressing you. They've got to turn you over to get back in this ball game. Play solid.
Farmar, tough shot over. Humphrey beats the shot clock. Tough one. He had scored 12 of UCLA's first 20, but not again until that one. And then a reach-in foul. I don't know, but that looked pretty clean. They say he got a piece of the arm.
Well, you got to figure Horford's hands are pretty strong, and it was a guard taken away from him. But here's what Florida does, and it's fun to watch, that the big men are really the key guys responsible for beating the press. Horford really does a job coming back to catch inbounds passes. Noah not afraid either. Dangerous pass.
Greene up ahead. Noah. Everybody can handle the ball on this team. And it ends in another dunk.
That's where these big guys are different than most big guys you see on the college level. The two of them work so beautifully against the press.
I tell you, they're dunking it with such regularity. This is starting to take on Phi Slamma-Jamma proportions in that game against Louisville in the semifinal that people still talk about.
Well, that was a great semifinal. Nobody thought NC State had a chance, but when the whole thing was said and done, Jim Valvano walked away with a prize.
Farmar scoring again.
But again, trading baskets, and Ben Hollen trying to get some turnovers here. But again, it goes back to the big guys.
Noah, did he travel? Everybody in the building on the UCLA side motioning, but no call. Humphrey loses his footing, and he tries to call a timeout. They give it to him. To the clock, but to no avail. Donnie Daniels over there trying to...
And see, a new 10-second goes when it goes to the backcourt. So it's not like they only had a 1/10 of a second to get it back in there. You get another 10.
On the Horford. Short tip. And Muta clears it.
Muta did a good job against Davis on Saturday, but he's having more trouble with Horford today, isn't he?
By a mile. Here's Afflalo.
And there's Horford. Nice screen. Bozeman tries to act it through. Doesn't work. And Greene solid with his judgment. Noah.
And he is bumped by Aboya.
Aboya figured he could power Noah, but Noah can put the ball on the floor. He loves when a guy tries to press him out there because he puts it on the floor with either hand.
Collins, Collison, back for the Bruins. Gators to inbound underneath. There's 6 minutes left.
And look at where it goes out to the man with the sure hands. So nice to have big guys that can handle the ball and bail you out of problems.
It's Brewer. Tipped out. Afflalo tipped it over. Get away from the traffic. Takes the center. Look at that speed, and he scores.
Where was that earlier? He exploded on that play.
They brought it from 20 to 12, and that's off the knee of Greene, able to catch up with the dunk. Time and time again.
What a recovery. Bounced it off his knee, but there was no UCLA player there to get the loose ball. Again, the trading baskets will not work.
Lorimar looking for a three. And Greene able to get the easy rebound. Speeds right past a couple of Bruins. Pitches it out. Humphrey again, no.
Now normally you'd say to Humphrey, why are you shooting that shot? You've got the clock working for you. But his role is, you're open, put it up. Pretty good high percentage shots, huh, Jim?
How many times have you seen it? Greene has 7 assists now on the night. 30 points in the paint overall for Florida. Bozeman back, Lorimar and Afflalo starting backcourt, sitting down for a breather. Roll back.
Billy Donovan using his complement of big men to spell Horford here and get ready for that last 5 minutes. On the arm, Humphrey got hit.
Hollen's able to retrieve it. And the Bruins trying to inch a little closer. Hollen's stepping in, and number 6. 6 of the night.
Not only a block, but all of the man sitting in here tonight, Bill Russell, don't block it and knock it in the stands. Block it and keep it in your hands. Some play, huh?
That first row doesn't do it any good. Keep it in play. He's tied his career high, but he set an NCAA championship high with the 6. Has the jumper, though, taken out of his hands for a moment. Feeds it back. 3 on the shot clock. Greene, will he notice? Yes, he does.
It's okay. It's still alive.
And back to Brewer on the floor.
Is he going to get tripped? I think so.
Foul on Aboya.
This is a la Bill Russell, San Francisco University. Thank you very much. I'm blocking your shot, and then I'm taking it the other way for my team. Some play.
I still say it's like Mr. Gadget when he needs to extend it just a little bit more. He's just everywhere. Bill Russell. If anyone, as you said, Billy, admires that feat, what he's doing out here on this floor tonight.
Would you say he's improved a little bit from last year's NCAA tournament where he played 2 minutes in 2 NCAA tournament games? Scored 8 points. Or scored 2 points in the last 8 games Florida played last year. Now he's playing like the best player in the country.
He's grown up in a hurry. He's playing behind David Lee last year. But the maturity, you see it by the week, by the game, really.
Absolutely.
Brewer, jumper. And Muta clears it for the Bruins. Under 4 to play. Afflalo doubled up. Brewer on the floor again, creating a mess for the Bruins.
And the reach in with those long arms. Back to the stable Greene tonight. He gets fouled twice, finally called.
On Lorimar.
And Bill Walton, who won 2 national championships. Coach Wooden, imagine this, 18 straight games he won in the Final Four. 38 straight NCAA tournament games. Records that will never be touched.
Again, reported just before game time tonight. Bruins released a statement that Coach Wooden at 95 entered a hospital yesterday in California. They say it's not serious as Greene puts up the 3. And they hope that he'll be released in the next 2 days. He is watching the game, and all of us send our best wishes to the great man. There's Muta with the dunk for the Bruins.
Excellent pass by Lorimar, but a little bit too late. You see that judgment by Greene. He realizes that his biggest teammate right now is this clock, so don't try to make the big play.
Reach in, Afflalo.
And you know, Jim, I don't know if we have had a game in the Final Four, and I realize it hasn't been competitive from the standpoint of going down to the wire, but have we had a game where so many players on one team had like the perfect game? I mean, when you start thinking about the judgments, this team, 5 starters all in double figures. We said at the top when we first had them a week ago, it's amazing that they all have a positive assist turnover ratio. They have excellent basketball IQ. They're very unselfish. And tonight they use their heads and their bodies to put themselves in a position to win the first basketball championship, not only at their school, in the history of the state of Florida.
So young. 4 sophomores and a junior in that starting lineup, playing hard every game all season. Their coach will tell you, always playing with emotion. And then in the final, they even get the boost, as you see Tito Horford cheering on his son, professional player for many years. They get the one senior to come in as Muta puts the follow-up down.
Noah might get credit for another block on that play.
But they get the senior Moss, who comes in just to add a little wisdom and a boost off the bench with 9 big first-half points. Talking about the perfect game by some of the players.
Again, using their heads, get the ball back out, and use that 6th man, the clock, to help them.
Right back out to Humphrey, puts up the 3, and good again.
Ben Hollen thought that there was walking. He's screaming at the official. But you know Humphrey's not going to shoot that ball inside. He's looking to pass it and get back out in his spot.
And a foul on Florida. Here in Indianapolis, they can only hope that the new Colts kicker, Adam Vinatieri, will be hitting as many clutch threes as we've seen from Lee Humphrey the last 3 days.
Jim, you know, we mentioned about in 96 when the SEC had 2 teams in here, but you know, also think about 94, 2 teams to the Final Four the SEC had. Florida, this Florida club under Lon Kruger, and of course Arkansas. So now they are going to be 3 for 3 with taking 2 teams to the Final Four and coming away with a champion.
Florida's biggest deficit of the night, 2 points. Afflalo, tough one, tipped around, picked up by Muta, and it's going back to UCLA. It was 4-2 UCLA, and then the Gators hit their stride and have not stopped. Lorimar.
Noah. How many? Oh, and it was off and running.
Flipping it over to Humphrey. Minute 30 left. What a virtuoso show here by the Gators. Noah with 14 points, 9 rebounds, 6 blocks. Horford coming up big. There's Christine Donovan. Her husband is about to have a national championship.
Not bad for a team that lost 60% of their scoring last year and predicted to be the 4th or 5th best team in the SEC. Not bad.
You know what I think it tells you? Because UCLA is young too. We're at a stage, Billy, in college basketball with the major programs. Don't think about getting all that experience. You may not have the kids there anyway. But when you got them young, you got their attention and you got their ambition to do something great. They're coachable.
Right. Billy talks about that all the time, is how coachable this group is, how close-knit they are.
Attentive. They want to get better. They want to get coached.
And they like each other.
Well, they room with each other. Coach Hallen's wife, Kim Hallen. One of the biggest thrills for Ben was when he got named the coach at UCLA 3 years ago today. And his mom and dad were there to see it as he came back home. His father passing away just a few short months later as Noah adds to the dunk total.
I would say that 70% of their baskets the last 10 minutes have been dunks of good, solid passing and good finishers.
Lorimar hits the jumper.
Billy, 230 wins before 40. Only Bobby Knight ahead of him in that regard. Knight, the youngest to coach a championship team. He did it at 35. Billy now will become the 2nd youngest guy ever to coach a team to a championship in NCAA tournament history. And he joins Knight and Dean Smith as the only guys that have played in the Final Four and coached a team to a national championship in Final Four.
Yeah, let's make sure everybody got those names one more time. He joins Dean Smith
and Bob
Knight. That's what we're talking about. And his proud mentor, Rick Pitino. Got him in the loop. That senior season was the 86-87 school year, which was the first year of the 3-point shot in college basketball, missing the front end of the 101. Greene, a rare miss by him. And Billy, really one of the founding fathers, if you will, of the college three, able to capitalize that equalizer, as they know the line, helping take his Friars to the Final Four. Like I said, play there and now coach a champion. And Brewer still trying to add to the steal.
He's been the octopus out here tonight, and Afflalo will attest to that. Impressive victory. There he is again.
He's everywhere. Magnet for the ball and a reach in. He'll head to the line. And there's the O'Connell Center. Watch him when they get the reaction a couple of seconds later.
Jim, they used to be a football school.
I heard that. No more. Although Urban Meyer, their great young coach, he's here in this building tonight in Indy.
Well, we're going to see, in my estimation, both of these coaches back at a Final Four in our lifetimes.
No question. UCLA, seeing like we saw last year with North Carolina, 3 seasons removed from 8-20, winning the title. Ben Hollen taking another superpower, rekindling the magic. Not able to do what Roy Williams did last year, but got him here when few expected it.
Ben Hollen saying no foul.
That's going to do it. They were almost flawless. A season low, 6 turnovers by the Gators. What a performance. The Gators, as good as it gets. Florida's the national champion.